Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everybody, it is Wednesday, October 22nd. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a dozen or so tickers to review with you. If you're new to this channel, please understand that my technique for finding trades and for analyzing trade setups may be very different from what you're used to. This definitely is not fundamental analysis. I don't often use news and all the many sources of material that everybody uses to try to find the right trade about where to invest one's money. Instead, I like to stick to the basic facts, how momentum indicators can give us an indication of where the big money is being moved to and from. So with that, please watch to the end because I'm adding a new ticker tonight for us to review as a possible long entry. Let's kick things off with the triple Qs. You can see on this diagram that there's this resistance zone here at around 610. And my annotations from the past couple of weeks has been pretty consistent. I haven't changed the overall direction. It is and it remains to the downside. That's based on the negative divergence that has built up over the past 6 months or so. And you can also see how I've annotated up here all the shark signals to one another to take their profits, go on vacation, buy their family a turkey for Thanksgiving and whatnot. Overall, no change in direction. I'm not adjusting this chart at all. It is to the downside. If anything, I'll just extend this a little bit to show that the divergence on the bearish side continues. Okay, let's switch to the gold play. This is GDX. I do want to spend a little bit of time to review how price behaved along this trend line. So you can see this thick, dark trend line in black that I've annotated for a long time. You can also see how I've talked about the sharks, the big players in the market, informing one another to take their profits and get out. And you can also see how I've annotated down here the bearish divergence. I actually thought that the sell signal and the beginning of selling would start earlier. I actually thought it would start over here. But you can see, and I can see, full disclosure, that they push price up even higher. What's really interesting is over the past couple of days, how price sold down, gapped down quite a bit. I'm going to annotate the gap here from the bottom of this green candle to the top of the red candle there. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to highlight. Actually, I'm curious, what was the big drop? This was 7% drop, okay, on that day. 7% drop. And I want to zoom in on this red candle to highlight the behavior along this trend line. So let's go to the hourly chart. So each candle on the hourly chart is 1 hour, okay? So on this little tiny green candle up here, that's Monday. The close of the market on Monday is up here at around 80. And then on Tuesday, price opened right here at the bottom edge of this, or down here. The gap wasn't created yet until the end of the day. But anyway, they gapped it down, okay, from up here all the way down here. They sold it down to this trend line. And, you know, from an hourly perspective, you can see that price danced around this trend line, okay? It behaved in a certain way along the trend line. What it did was it gapped down up to here, sold it down, came back, retested the trend line from underneath. You can see that, okay? Came up, retested it from underneath. And I draw this freehand, so it's not super duper duper precise, but the point is it's a zone. And the second point is that it's based on experience on how to draw trend lines that one can predict how price will behave. So you can see that price hit resistance, attempting to reclaim the trend line here, and it closed the day underneath it, okay, right here. And today, price opened at this trend line, sold it down, and came back up during the hour. So this is the hourly candle. You can see that by the end of the day, they attempted to reclaim the trend line again, and they closed out right here at 70, what is this? 72.93, okay? Now, what we need to look at is what will likely happen in the near term. I think what they're going to do is that the sharks are very aware of folks wanting to short gold. I'm one of them. So with that in mind, we have to think as if we are the big money players, the sharks. How would they behave? In this case, I think they would want to take the money from those shorting GDX and other gold miners and gold tickers themselves, GLD and such. And what they'll do is they'll likely push it up over the next couple of days into this gap area. Okay, I'm going to redraw the lines here just so that you all can see what I'm thinking will happen. I think what they'll do is they're going to push price up above, okay, and they'll try to get it up, maybe not to the upper edge of the gap fill, but they'll kind of bounce it around before selling it back down, okay? So my thesis is this support line that I annotated here in green, this one, okay, it only provided support for this one candle, the red one. Right now, the question is it going to remain support? I'm going to get rid of it, in fact. I think what it's going to do is it's going to be a false support up here. So they're going to push price up, get those who shorted GDX over here to lose their trade, their money. They'll get stopped out. They'll bounce it around a bit over the next week or a few days in a week before resuming the selling. Okay, and that's because I feel the bearishness that was accumulated here. In fact, if we go back further, it's a lot of bearishness. It's just the selling hadn't started, en masse. I'm going to switch to the weekly just to give us some visibility. So on the weekly, okay, the weekly doesn't show it in the same way. So really, my conviction is only based on more of this nearer term price action up here, okay, this one here. All right, so that's GDX. The next couple of days into the gap fill, but then after that, I think further selling. Let's switch to Microstrategy here. This one was one of the few more recent long trades that I felt was setting up. And I talked about how this line here, this 297, would provide support. We could see that the behavior on this candle here, this is Thursday. So I did my video on Tuesday last week, Tuesday close, so which is this red candle. So I did the video last week on Tuesday close. I talked about how this would be support. And we can see that it was support for Wednesday. See that Thursday, they pushed it down. Friday, they attempted to come back up, but they didn't. And in the past couple of days, a little bit of a battle along this green support. Okay, they kept it up there yesterday, but then only to push it back down further here. So the question is, two questions. Is this green line here at 297, about 298, still a legitimate area of support? That's one. Right now, I would say no, okay, because it's in between where price is moving. So I'm going to get rid of it. But is the overall direction change? Am I changing my thesis for where MicroStrategy will move in the near term? So let me take a look real quick. I think due to how price moved over the past handful of days here, that it's broken underneath this right here, 293. Since it's underneath 293, the next zone of support is down here at this trend line here. Okay, let's zoom out, take a look at that trend line. Right, this is the trend line which I annotated as the behavior here with these circles, saying that price utilized it as support. And if we go further to the left here, oops, excuse me, it was also support over here, okay? And you can see even on this little red candle here, it was support or resistance. I mean, it is both. You have to see it as support and resistance, depending on where the ticker is, the price action is. Right now, this is a support line. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker just so that we can keep an eye on it. So with it being support, I can see price moving all the way down to it. Okay, so from where we are right now, which is a close right here, right, we close right there. The move all the way down from where we are there to here, that's about a 7% move. So right now we're in between a zone. We're in between the price point here and this support here. So I'll leave this bottom line as support, whereas this one here, I'll make it in red to show it as resistance. Okay. So for now, it's a no trade on MicroStrategy. I think it will continue to build a bullishness, which you can see here down in this zone. The bullishness just increases, but because of where price is right now, it's in between this resistance and this support. It's not a zone where you want to take a trade. You want to take it close to a line if we're going to play it to the short side. So if we're going to play it to the short side, we want to take it near overhead resistance. And if we're going to take it long, we should take it near support. So right now, it's a no trade for MicroStrategy. Overall, though, is the general direction upwards, and it is. Okay, due to all this bullish divergence here, my general thesis is still to the upside. Okay, still to the upside. So if you are in this trade long already, let's say you got in the trade here, the only problem with MicroStrategy, they changed the name, is that it's so volatile. If you took a full position, if you took a full position here and you're down, all right, you're down 6%, you may have already stopped out. And if you get down to where the green support line is, where my green annotation, that's 12%. That's a lot of holding the bag. So I wouldn't advise it. Right now, it's not a trade either way, but the overall thesis is to the upside. Let's go over to Microsoft. I talked about the general direction being downward. You can see that here. Right now, it's just dancing along this gap fill. It's already filled the gap. We saw it happen already. I like to keep the gap line visible, this rectangular shape, because I've always felt that price behaves a certain way when it's in and around large gap zones. Right now, the overall direction remains to the downside. I'll just slide this to the right. Okay, 200 days, slide it over. All right, so still to the downside, take your profits, be happy, and wait for when to re-enter. Right now, this is the profit-taking zone that the sharks have commenced. Coming over to Tesla, my annotation last week is downward general direction, fill the gap, overall move downward. Next major support here is 322, the 200 days over here. So really no change in my thesis. Overhead resistance remains in play. So I drew this, it's resistance, and look, it still is. I'll just slide it over. Okay, still resistance. Yeah, further low prices. I'll just move this over to the right. Okay, now you do see that I made this red annotation down here. I'm hoping to take it as a short when price comes back, right? So what I hope would happen is this general direction is down. Okay, it'll go down, bounce a little bit, come down. When it comes back up, it'll do something like this. So what I'm hoping to do is take a short when it comes up to hit resistance here. Okay, so the way that would work is this: price comes down, underneath breaks down, everyone's happy, starts to short, they'll push it back up so that it'll stop people out. When it comes up here to essentially come up to this trend line again, that's the entry. Okay, that's the retest, called the retest. And I'll slide this gap fill over. All right, that's Tesla for us. Switching over to Palantir. Okay, general direction remains to the downside. Bearish divergence here. Yep, correlates to this spot here. I'll put a little shark there for us, just to be consistent. Bearishness right there. And right now you can see that the top edge of the gap fill has been support for many days, for, what is this, a month or so? You can see this. And the breakdown will take place. It's just a matter of when. I'm going to slide this over. General direction still remains to the downside. And it's like that. Okay, so I'll even move this overhead resistance over a little bit. See if I can grab it. I can't grab it yet, but I'll adjust it later. That's Palantir. Okay, and you can see this major support line down here. It'll take a while for it to get down there. And again, the short entry, because the general direction is to the downside, the more objective play is the short entry right here. Okay, price comes down, it breaks this purple trend line support, comes back up to retest it, and this is the objective short right there. Heading over to Northrop Grumman. This is a defense contractor here. Tons of bearishness here, you can see it. You see my annotations here on the sharks. What's interesting is I talked about this red line I drew here as being somewhat of a zone of support and resistance. And you can see how it's playing out. So I'm going to slide it over, continue to keep the annotation going. All right. And then what I find interesting is the behavior yesterday's price action. So this green candle is long, okay, and it's on earnings. So let's see what the narrative is. The narrative on earnings is they beat their earnings estimate by almost 20%, okay, with a little bit less overall revenue. And one would say that it's a positive. Hence, price attempted to go down beneath this black trend line. I'm going to make it thicker just so that we can talk about it. This black trend line has been support all along here. It's been, price pushed up here, gapped up on this day, on the earnings, gapped up right into this black trend line, and that was resistance, only to have price come above it and use it as support all throughout here. And this black trend lines go all the way back. You can see how the behavior is here. Resistance here, price pushed up, wasn't able to stay up for very long. Resistance here, came back, resistance again. So this black trend line is legit. I'm just gonna make it purple so that we can talk about it as a purple trend line. Okay. All right, so this purple trend line is long-term trend line. There's a lot of respect. And you can see how when price got underneath it, the buyers came back in and bought it back up. It's almost as if this trend line has some magic on it. What I do see is it may stay up above this purple trend line for a bit more, okay? Because right now the behavior is when it touches this trend line, price wants to stay above it. But the key thing for us is that we don't want to get sucked into the narrative. We don't want to fall for what the sharks are baiting, okay? So right now, I'm going to put one of these fishing emojis to say that watch out for the fishing narrative. They might start selling us the narrative. Okay, I'm warning you. They might sell the narrative that, hey, it's time to go long, okay? So when you see me use this fishing pole and little fish, it's bait. They're going to bait us. They're going to bait us to think that it's a further upward move when the momentum indicator entirely down here is to the downside, okay? So I told you, don't tell me I didn't warn you. Let's switch over to General Motors. This one really ripped. And I wasn't able to take a short. I wanted to take a short here. I said if it came back up here, hit the trend line, that I would take a short. But in fact, I missed the entry. And sometimes that happens because I'm, not watching the charts all day. I'm like all of us, we have daytime jobs, so I was working. I missed the entry. But I'm thankful that I missed it because otherwise I would have stopped out. Let's talk about this from a learning perspective, okay? What I want us to review is the usefulness of drawing trend lines well. So this was meant to be resistance, and it was resistance for just a tiny bit on this day, on this one day, Friday the 17th. I did my chart last Tuesday night, which was on Tuesday. So, okay, Tuesday was this big green candle on the close. And I talked about how this would be resistance. So it was resistance. It was resistance for essentially, one could say for sure for this candle, but you can also say for all of these. What I didn't expect, and I think perhaps because so many people were looking to take a short here, that the shark said, you know what, let's push it up for the next couple of weeks and stop out all the shorts, take their money, suck in more retail investors. Let's see what the narrative is. What did the news tell us? I'm going to click on this. The news said, hey, they posted really good earnings, okay? And they're launching autonomous vehicles. Amazing, okay? So this is the headlines. This is what they're selling us. So with that, the only people that can move price in big jumps are the big players, okay? The sharks and the whales are the only ones that can push price up like crazy. I'm not using a whale here because a whale, when I use a whale symbol, that's when the big players want to go long. In this case, the big players want to go short, okay? That's still the thesis, my thesis. Actually, I just saw a trend line. I'm going to draw this right here. Draw this just like that. And so here, this is all support down here. Sorry, resistance down here, resistance up here, and then they gapped it up above this line. Okay, so what they're going to do is, over the next, let's say a few days, a week maybe, they're going to push price up, make it look amazing. But when price finally breaks underneath this trend line, that's the the real sell signal, okay? And so just be careful. Don't go in long. Okay, so I'm going to put a preemptive shark here. Okay, and I'll just kind of annotate it as this is my prediction. I'll put a quotation symbol. Okay, that's my quotation symbol to say I predict that the sharks start their selling up here. Okay, and if you are in GM and you got this as an additional long move, great for you. Take your profit. Take your profit. All up here. Take your profit right up here in this 70 zone. Okay, because they're going to break it down. So I'm going to move this over to over here because that'll be a nice entry. And I'll just kind of move this over. So it's a channel. Okay. All right. That's GM. Let's go over to General Mills. I've been talking about this one as a long entry. My long entry thesis remains unchanged. Okay. I thought it would push through and stay above the purple trend line sooner, but instead they brought it back down and retested this shorter term trend line. Okay. They retested it. It's been support over the past 3 days. It was resistance for the past few days here on this red candle. It was resistance essentially, flat on this green candle. Support for the past 3 days. My thesis is unchanged. I'm in this trade long. I put these whale symbols here. The overall direction is up. My annotations there is unchanged. I'm just going to slide it to the right. Like that. Okay. No change. And with the upside being the resistance up here, I'll move this over at around 65. Okay, that's a long one for you. Looking at UPS, same thing. Same thing. The long prediction remains unchanged. All this bullishness down here. Okay, all the bullishness. I put the whales here, let you all know they're buying. The whales are buying. The big players are buying. And that's what they're doing. I talked about how this would be support. It is support. The general direction is upward. No change in my thesis. Let's go to Lululemon. Lululemon, okay, also a long entry. I'm in this trade as well. They are slowly buying it back up. So no change in my thesis. Bullishness here. First gap fill up to 201. The question is, does it have momentum to get up here, to get the gap fill all the way up here at 326? We'll have to take a look at how it behaves at the upper edge of this gap fill. So let me put that. Here. So it might be resistance there. First level of resistance, we'll have to pay close attention there. The question for me is, what am I going to do with my trade? I took an entry at maybe around here. So from here to here. All right, so about, it's not a perfect 20%. It's probably 17% move for me, depending on where my entry is. I don't know. I don't remember exactly. So I'll have to take a look, okay? First level of resistance there. I'm going to re-annotate this real quick, just because I want to be clear for myself. Watch out for that resistance. We'll have to see what it does here. The question is it going to go up still, or is it going to go down? Okay, we'll have to take a look. But with all of this down here, my overall thesis is up. It's just, will it come back down and retest? Is it going to come down and test something further down? Excuse me. All these annotations are in. Delete this. Yeah, so the question, so we'll see, okay? But the move is up to this trend line first, so that's a decent move. Now, if you're not in the trade already, because if you're here, you're kind of in the middle zone, right? If you missed a trade, I talked about taking it down here, anywhere along this trend line support, or if it came back down to touch this one. But right now, at this spot here, it's not a really fantastic entry. I wouldn't advise it because the risk reward isn't super phenomenal. From here down to here, it's about 6%. From here up to here, so it's a 1 to 2, right? 1% down to sorry, 1 to 2. So 6% here, 12% here. So it's up to you. It's not a great entry. I wouldn't like the entry myself to go long from where we are right now. Anyway, that is Lululemon. And then on to the new ticker, Target. This is a US retailer. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly chart, give all of you a feel for behavior over a longer term. And my charting tool isn't updating. There it is. Zoom out. I'm going to remove the RSI from the bottom. Just zoom out so folks can see my annotations. Okay. And what I want to visit specifically is this purple trend line. Okay. I'm zooming out a lot. You can see the time frame go all the way back to 2000. Let's see. Yeah, my chart package. Oh, okay. History only goes back to there. So let's go all the way back to this zone here. So this is 1987. Okay. Wow. 87. What I want to highlight specifically is the legitimacy of this purple trend line. Okay. From a historical perspective, there's been a lot of adherence and respect for this trend line. See, resistance here, kissed it here. Price came up on that week. Okay, kissed it, and it was resistance. Reattempted again, but failed. Okay. And then you can see all along here, resistance. Okay. Resistance all through here. Attempted to get through it here. I freehand drew this, so it's not exact. Finally got above it. And once it got above it, off to the races. Okay. And then we keep going. Okay. This is the 2000s here, the year 2000s here. And then when price got over here, this is, you can see how it was support here. They attempted to keep it underneath here in March of 09, but the following week, they reclaimed it. This purple trend line has a lot of respect. Okay. And you keep going. Keep going, keep going. You can see the dance all along here. This is through 2017 to 2018. All throughout the year, a dance along that trend line. And it stayed above. Then again, here in 2018. Oh, my neck is stiff. You know when you wake up in the morning, maybe how you sleep at night, your pillow is just isn't right. Your neck has it's tight. So comment for me what I should do to clear up my tight neck. And then the purple trend line continues. So as we go forward, I want to highlight how in this zone, this is all-time highs. Okay, all-time highs, and then price coming down, boom, broke the trend line. This is significant. So the question is Target going to continue to adhere to how this trend line has been support for more than 20 years or whatever it is here? Okay. Once it got through it here in 97, perhaps some of you weren't born in 97. Yeah, maybe I have some young investors watching this channel. Actually, unlikely. Kids don't care about this stuff. They want the quicker TikTok analysis so they can buy their crypto and lose their money. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So here we are in the near term. So let's switch to having the Divergence shown again. You can see divergence here, bullishness on the weekly. And you can see that I put the two whales, okay? Let's switch to the daily chart and look at it at a closer time frame to decide if and when the right entry should take place. So what you should say is, hey, let's wait on taking the entry based on the purple trend line. And you know what? I would follow that myself. So right now, I will wait. I'm going to wait and let price get above this purple trend line. It could take weeks. The main point is when you're using technical analysis and you're not being influenced by news and pundits and analysts and special guests to the financial market news programs, when you're not being influenced by all of them, then you can prepare a trade ahead of time. You can be ready for the trade and not follow the trade after price has already moved, okay? You get a better entry. So I'm going to put a green annotation up here, switch to green, informing us that when price gets above here and stays above the trend line, then that would be the entry long. Okay. From where we are here, price close, to get above the purple trend line is almost 12%, okay, which coincides with the upper part of the gap fill. Okay. I'm not wanting to take a trade really anywhere inside this gap fill. I don't want to. I'm going to wait. So my annotation would be this. Let's wait for price to get above and come back. Okay. When it comes back, right here, this type of area, this is not precise. I'm not telling you that when price hits this date point, right, January 26th, that's not what I'm telling you, because my annotation is not based on when it will happen. What I'm saying is when price behaves as I've drawn, when price comes back, it could do it earlier. It could bust through here in the next week and then come back, kiss the purple trend line or the upper edge of the gap fill. Then I'm more likely to take a long myself. Okay, I'll let you guys know. But this is one to watch. Let's watch this one, because it could be a really good one from a long-term perspective in more recent history, right? The past, let's go to the weekly again. More recent past, how price has behaved when it stayed above this trend line. It's done it for a really long duration. It's incredible. Okay, so that is Target. Hope you like this new trade idea. Let's keep an eye on it. And as always, please share my material with your friends and family. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want me to look at. Because I'm always looking for trade ideas myself, and I can't possibly look at every single sector, every single type of ticker out there. You can always help build the community of people who use this trading strategy to be predictive and help one another get into the trade at the right time and protect our money and grow it together. All right, give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to sharing videos with you next week.